So I've learned a few really positive things after my open heart surgery to help me heal, and there's also been a few complications. We're going to get into it in this video. Hey, what's shaking bacon? My name's Bruno Panucci. I hope you're doing well. So as lots of you know out there, I'm doing a 30-day July squat challenge, and it's based on a study that came out, 10 squats every 45 minutes for an 8.5-hour window. So the beautiful thing about this challenge is almost anyone can fit it in their day, whether you sit at an office or you work on a factory line or whatever it is that you do. You can usually do it or find a variation of it that you can do. So I'm doing this squat challenge. If you want to join along, please do. What I'm doing in my particular challenge is I'm increasing it every week. So the second week, this week, I'm doing 11 squats at a time for an 8.5-hour window. Next week, I'm going to be doing 12 squats each time. So you only have to do 10. Now, I just want to do a little bit extra because I think I have a long way to go to fix my insulin issues. Though on Carnivore, my blood sugar is perfectly regulated and my A1C is perfectly regulated, even after I've lost 165 pounds of weight. My fasting insulin is still high. So I want to do every little bit that I can, especially while I'm healing after my open heart surgery, to just help speed along my healing. So the one thing that's going to be beneficial, the more my insulin gets under control, is my healing is going to be even better. The scar in my arm has healed perfectly. The scar in my leg has healed perfectly. That's about a 2-foot scar where they took a vein out of my leg. They took an artery out of my arm. But my chest scarring didn't heal so well. Right at about the 4.5-week mark, a hole appeared at the top of the scar and it just opened up, and the top half of my scar opened up kind of like a zipper, and the scar tissue that formed really just widened. So I had to go into the hospital and they had to cut all that out, all that scar tissue, and now I have a vac system hooked up. I have a sheet of plastic over my wound, and underneath it is a black foam, and they have a suction going into that foam, and it's slowly closing the wound. That vac system is a real pain in the butt, and those dissolvable stitches just dissolved a little bit too soon. I did nothing really strenuous to justify that scar just opening up. Now, I wanted them to just sew it up, but they wouldn't do it because they said they could be risking locking an infection underneath. But either way, they're going to do it now. I'm going to be about 3 weeks out from my procedure at the hospital when they cut into my scar. Now, they just did that with a local anesthetic while I laid in my hospital bed. I'm pretty sure they want to put me under for this procedure just to sew my chest up. And I already went through a very similar issue, which I just explained to you, when they cut away the scar tissue in my chest using a local. So they're basically doing the exact same thing. They're opening up the inner perimeter of the scar so that it's fresh tissue going against fresh tissue. And then they're going to lock it together with, I think, staples or clamps or something like that. And then I just have a superficial wound to heal from. So hopefully I'll be able to get back to work sooner. But I don't need to go under for such a simple procedure. I can just have a local, and I know that because I already had something very similar to that done without the stitching. So if I can handle what they did the first time around with local, I'm pretty sure I can handle it the second time around. Now, I have had some complications after my open heart surgery, one of which was constipation. Another was, of course, a swollen ankle. So my ankle and leg was swelling. Now I'm talking about the leg that they took the vein from. That is going to have to take a while to rebuild the tissue to help with the venous drainage going back to the heart. So as a massage therapist, I'm really good at managing inflammation, but it was still slow going. So whenever I did too much in a day, even just walking around Costco one day, my leg was swollen for days afterwards, mainly my ankle. So it was something I really had to watch out for while everything's being reconstructed organically underneath the skin. So I've learned to pace myself. And that's something that you need to do after you do something like open heart surgery. You need to learn how to pace yourself as you're healing. You don't want to do too much. It doesn't feel like you're doing too much at the time, but clearly your body or certain areas of your body don't like it. It's not nearly as much of an issue as it was before. If I sit down on a chair for maybe 2 hours at a restaurant or at someone's house, my ankle will swell, not quite as bad as it used to, but I also know not to keep my knee bent at 90 degrees or more during such a long time of sitting down. So it's not that much of an issue anymore because I'm also doing this squat challenge, and that going back to that squat challenge, it helped that swelling in my leg. So I noticed that from the second day I did the squat challenge. The first day I did my 10 squats every 45 minutes, and that's to manage insulin. It's not to lose weight. It's not to build muscle. It's just to help burn some blood sugar out of your system. One of the things that also happens from 2 months of not doing anything was working my quads and my glutes like I was doing all those squats. Even though it wasn't a ridiculous amount of squats, it was still enough that it was like a bit of a workout, and I was sore for the next few days. But what that also meant was blood got driven into my quads and into my glutes. So I was giving the blood in my body an area to go to do some work, and it was some repair work. So what's nice is my ankle really hasn't been swelling since I've been doing all this work on my quads. So even though walking can aggravate my ankle or sitting can aggravate my ankle, the nice thing about sitting is I'm not sitting for any prolonged period of time, because every 45 minutes I'm getting up to do my squat challenge. So I do encourage you to join along in the squat challenge. It's a really easy squat challenge. Some people are going to become members when I actually get my YouTube membership set up. So once that's done, I can get that up and going for anyone who wants to become a member and also just support the channel. I really appreciate you people out there who have offered to help support the channel. I really appreciate that. The other issue I've had since my surgery, that's probably been the worst issue by far, even worse than this chest, worst pain I've had, is constipation, extreme constipation. Now, on a carnivore diet, I know how to manage constipation. I can play with my electrolytes. I can just get more fat in my diet, and that will help. But this constipation has been really bad. It's actually been painful. That's how bad it was. So I was trying to figure out what drug I was on that was creating this constipation. I talked to the pharmacist, my family doctor, and the cardiologist and resident cardiologist. They all said that none of the medications had anything to do with constipation. So either it's just my body needing the fat that's going into my system, and what's coming out at the other end is really dry and painful to pass. It's interesting to know that that could be part of just the natural healing process. I think it's possibly a side effect of one of the medications, but these are the three major issues I went through in my healing process, aside from extreme boredom. I've been trying to keep myself mentally stimulated, different puzzles, talking with friends, watching movies, TV shows, drawing. I like to draw. I don't spend enough time doing that hobby, but I've been trying to keep myself engaged, because guys need to do things. Guys need to feel useful. So I've had 3 physical problems and 1 mental one that I've been managing pretty well overall. I have been keeping myself entertained from one degree to another. But the one thing you got to keep in mind is there's going to be certain things you're going to have to deal with after a surgery that even the doctors and nurses don't talk to you too much about, and they don't inform you about, and you're going to come across this stuff on your own. So before I turned to high fat, I was usually taking magnesium to manage it, but magnesium just gives you diarrhea. But I found a perfect happy medium with my magnesium supplement so that I wasn't getting diarrhea, and it was just keeping everything moving well. Sorry if this is too much information, but we're all adults here, right? So the other problem with that was eventually that didn't do much, and I had to try castor oil. So I took a little bit of castor oil, like a tablespoon. Now keep in mind, you have to take a food grade castor oil. Regular castor oil has a smell to it, and I don't like it. So this has no flavor and no smell. But I took a tablespoonful, and the one thing everyone says is, you're going to have a bowel movement within like a good 20 minutes quite often. It was better having everything pass with that than it was with the extreme constipation, because the problem with constipation, without getting into too many details, it was pretty bad. I had to take painkillers afterwards because the constipation was so bad. And I know what you're thinking. Well, some painkillers can cause constipation. Now, I hadn't touched painkillers in a month, and no matter how I changed my carnivore diet, aside from going out of my way to try adding a lot of extra fat, I was still dealing with constipation. The same carnivore diet that wasn't giving me constipation before. So my body's going through healing, and clearly it's absorbing different nutrients in different ways. So there are things that the doctors don't tell you about that you're going to have to deal with after simple procedures. So this video is designed as a bit of an update, and to also let you know, there are things you're going to have to figure out on your own. And you can't always rely on doctors to be at your side whenever you have any questions, because sometimes they don't even know the answers. So all you people out there who know how to control, say, constipation and diarrhea on a carnivore diet, actually know a little bit more than doctors do about nutrition and how you can manage nutrition for certain digestive disorders. Now, I was trying to understand what was causing my digestive disorder before I was trying to fix my digestive disorder, because I was trying to get it at the source. I think it's a good way to handle most any health problem you have. Catch it at the source. Don't try and deal with the problems that you're going through. Try and stop it at the source. So that's an update on my situation. So I just want to remind everyone, even if you don't become a member of this channel, please try and do this squat challenge like I recommended earlier. 10 squats every 45 minutes for an 8.5-hour window for the month. And the next month, it's going to be slightly different. And the whole goal of that is to manage your blood sugar. So thanks a lot. Take care.